Hey, welcome back. Episode 17, The Reset with me, Sean Tucker. What toxic fuel are you using for your motivation? What kind of things are you consuming to make it so that you're actually going to take action and move towards where you want to go? So I listened to a podcast probably this time last year, and I don't have the quote of the guy directly, but we have a tendency to use the shame cycles, use the guilt cycles as motivation to move quickly towards where we want to go, AKA away from pain. Because one wise mentor once told me was, pain will push until the vision pulls. And that is so true because shame, guilt, fear, anger, sadness, grief, all of those negative emotions, they're painful. They're painful emotions, right? And they can motivate you to change. They can motivate you to want to move towards pleasure. But there has to come a time where you decide that I don't want to have that pain anymore. I don't want to have that suffering. I don't want to use the pain as the motivation to get away from. I actually want to create something that's more sustainable long term. Because what will happen is if you continue down that path of using the shame, the guilt, and using that toxic fuel, be it, you're shaming yourself for eating all the foods you shouldn't eat, or you're, using alcohol, cigarettes, or pornography to get away from something that's uncomfortable, that's cheap energy, right? It's not going to build you a sustainable long-term solution towards where you want to go. And I know this because I also do that. And I'm not perfect. And in my last episode, I was talking about being super ridiculously structured and routine and disciplined. And for me, it's more about finding what keeps some form of structure, yet is flexible enough to have some freedom that is that toxic fuel, I guess. Because your ability to move through life in a way that's very hardcore, very serious. Yes, that works for some people. That works for some people who want to build their life on insecurity, away from insecurity. Whereas for me, it's more about how can I embrace and love my insecurity so that it doesn't actually consume me and I don't have to consume it, but we can actually live in peace. If we start to have those conversations within ourselves and we start to make some decisions around what it is that we want to build and what life we want to live, then it's a lot easier for us to actually start moving towards that vision that's pulling us. The creator of this universe, the creator of this life, wants us to move in a way that probably feels good. And equally, if you don't know what feels good, then maybe you're numbing out. Maybe it is you're unable to connect to the feelings in your body, the sensations inside of your body, because we only experience life through those five senses. There are different senses, and they all help us experience life for what it is. It's our perception, it's our interpretation of what life is that actually keeps us stuck, because life continues no matter what. If we were to vanish, life would continue. But our pain that we choose to suffer with, we can use it as motivation, but we have to know that it won't last very long. It's like the energy of an apple versus the energy of a chocolate bar? Which one's going to give you more energy over the longer period of time? Something that's slower digesting will give you more energy over a longer period of time. Something that has a little bit more fibrous material takes a little bit longer to break down and isn't just going to shoot your blood sugars up, but maintain it and sustain it for a longer period of time. That's going to keep you coming back and being pulled towards your vision as opposed to just being pushed away from your pain. And it is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy to create that version of yourself that it is more disciplined, that is a little bit more structured. But you have to decide what you want. Do you want to be healthy, or do you want to be radically unhealthy and continue to serve yourself shame with those potato chips and chocolate bars that you've been eating during the day and feeling guilty about? Because if it goes on for a long enough period of time, that actually becomes your personality. Your personal reality, aka your personality, is something that you are consciously or unconsciously creating. It's something that you are manufacturing yourself. Once again, I know this because this is what I am. I'm only giving you what I know within myself and are experiencing within myself. I'm not teaching you any theories. I'm just giving you an understanding of what my experience is about. And if you do find it helpful, awesome. If it's unhelpful, leave it. That's fine. You don't have to take everything that I'm saying. In fact, your ability to discern is way more important than just accepting what I'm saying. Because at one point in my life, I chose to see things the way that they are rather than the way that I think they are. And that in itself is really challenging. That is really hard. Because sometimes things look like they are a certain way on the surface, but when you ask more questions, when you sit with it a bit longer, you start to realize that it's not the full truth. And I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. I'm talking about even when it comes to food and nutrition. You know, what you think is healthy may not be healthy. What is healthy for one person and what even the doctors and specialists say is good for one person may not actually be good for you. Because the way that your system takes it in, that's the process. That's the important step that people miss. How your body responds to whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're consuming, whatever place it's consuming it from. I know this episode is a little bit out there, and I hope you're still with me, because these things are not really talked about. The subjective science of who you are and what you are versus the objective science of what people are saying is good and what is bad. They're two totally different things. One's observed among population. The other one is interpreted by your system. And there's only one version of that, and that's you. I hope that makes sense. Because not everybody gets it. And not everybody wants to understand it. Because people are too busy to discover what it is about them that they're searching for. For me, it's about finding what works for me, finding what makes me sleep well at night while still being able to perform well during the day. while still being able to keep a bit of freedom and select the foods and the drinks and the things that I consume on a daily basis. Not just letting my unconscious programming and body run the circuitry and run the program or run the software. It's a little bit more than that. Being able to discern what is good for me now and what's good for my growth. And if you found today's episode helpful, just share it with one person. It's one person, that's all I ask. Anyways, great to have you tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's episode.